Hello all, today I thought we'd do a video talking about my AU engines and rolling stock. Maybe talk about the layouts. And my, oh where's it gone? I'll find it in a bit. My little paper folder thing I made of, I think it's actually back there, of the list of characters. So yeah, I thought I'll just talk about that today, and we'll just talk about it in sections. Although I'm going to have to be quick because, it's a bit late. It's I think it's like 10 to 8. I mean 10 to 10. It's fine. So yeah, I'll get this done as quickly as possible. Although it's, to be honest, probably still going to end up being like 20 minutes long. Yeah, a lot of my videos have been like that long recently. But yeah, well, as you can see, they're all here. I'll explain, you know, the already sort of recognizable characters that you can see here. And then I'll be talking about some of the additional characters that I've added onto my AU, such as this guy, you know, basically this guy, technically these two, and I guess these two. So yeah, I'll be talking about them in a bit. Sorry, my head's a bit itchy. Yeah, and then I'll discuss my list of stuff. Right, on to the first section, which will be discussing the Farquhar engines. Alright, the Farquhar fleet so far, it's literally just these two. Also, I found the list. Sandwich series, that's what I've decided to call it. Oh, maybe these aren't the best, but that's because they're sort of, well, they're my own personal notes. I'm going to keep them on me, well, hopefully for the rest of my life. Because there are a few later in there that I've planned for when I have my own house. Because there's some layers in there. I actually have one, which is Scarlowy Station, which is currently in the works, in the garage, which I have here. But when you look at the others, you'll see, then they're very large. See, I'll just talk about these two. First, Percy. He was actually the first AU model I made. Originally, it was just a Percy model that I just made because, yes. I think because we had a Hornby Thomas, I think. Maybe we didn't, maybe we did. I think I had a Bachman Thomas, actually, so that must have been why. And he's gone through multiple repaints. Like, literally just multiple. And, yeah. He's also had different funnels. He has like 4 maybe. He's had the original Caledonian Pug one. Actually no, that was before he was Percy. Then he had one off a Trackmaster 2 engine. Then I lengthened that. And then I got rid of that and just replaced it with that. So yeah, I guess 4 different funnels. And he also had missing buffers here, so I replaced them with ones off a Dapple Pug. And you know, I've added these, and yeah, a lot of the detailing has like sort of been lost and sort of looks a bit thick than the thing, the actual Caledonian Pug, from all the layers of paint, but I'm still happy with them. So yeah, he's sort of the one that started it all, and he's had like 3 faces. I put paper card faces on all of them because I prefer that to the 3D printed faces, which were only really on Percy and Henry. So yeah, I rather like him. Thomas. I can't remember if I made him. I know I made him after Percy. I know all the engines were made after Percy, but I can't remember if he was made before or after Gordon and Henry. Well, originally when he was originally made. Well, he was originally a Hornby SE, like new E2 thing. Well, they don't call it an E2, but yeah. So yeah. Then he was actually painted up in a different colour before. Originally, he was just like, he originally had black wheels and red side rods, but he was more or less just like, you know, painted up a bit like that one there, except a darker blue and stuff. And I think there was a few differences. I think he had a brass dome. Then I decided to, sorry, I got a low battery warning there, 20%, which is fine. I decided to make him an Audrey replica, or well, it was originally going to be one of his E2 Thomas, which is why he's got this and the stuff on his campsites. Then I decided against that. Then he again became my AU Thomas. Although you see, this running board here, don't know if you noticed, but it's actually different to the Hornby E2's running board. That's because I tried to make it flat originally when he became my AU Thomas again. But it just looked horrendous. Like, it sort of just looked like he just sat too tall. It just didn't look right. So I just remade the entire front of his running board. And of course, just put on some new buffers. And yeah, job's a good one. Also, the whole audio replica thing is why he's got a flat running board. And yeah, he was painted in, I think he appeared in my 80th anniversary video. He was in dark blue, I think he appeared anyway. He was in dark blue with white lining and NWR and black lettering along with his number 1 in the same place as us. And then recently I've decided to repaint him into this colour, which I rather like. Yeah. And that's really it for the Farquhar engines. It's literally just these two. So yeah, I guess now we'll move on to the models of the Little Western engines. That'll be fun. Alright, now for the engines of the Little Western. I believe these are I think it's just Duck and Oliver. Because Donald, in Donald's Duck, Donald sort of is in the same shed as Duck, so maybe Donald and Douglas are also on the Little Western? No, I don't actually know. I'm gonna look into that. So yeah, also, I think I mentioned in a past video, I made a model representation of Duck. This is that model representation, although I turned him into my AU Duck, although it is sort of temporary, because my goal is to make him out of the, I believe, a Cura Scale 5741, in which all I need to do is basically just take the face off of this, maybe also the lamp, and then just stick it on that model. Because that's literally how I just really imagined Duck in my AU. So yeah, let's have a closer look at him though. So yeah, he's just a slightly modified old sort of Hornby 57, trying Hornby I believe, 57XX. It's actually got a smoke unit. So I need to get that working because that would be cool, wouldn't it? It'd also be my only Thomas model with a working smoke unit. Yeah. Although there is Donald, audio replica Donald, which does have a smoke unit fitted, but it does. I don't think it works. So yeah, nothing much. It's just been, painted in green, GWR slapped on his sides. It doesn't look too good, but if you think about it, not a lot of my models really look good. In fact, I would go far to say basically none of them really look the best. Well, actually, a lot of them do look really good. I might look at my gauge 1 replicas. I haven't sanded them down properly, but yeah, I'm still happy with my models. I'm still sort of proud of what I've achieved. I'm still proud of them. I'm happy with my babies. I think once my brother said that asked if I have just sort of motherly instincts or mama bear instincts or something like that over my models. I think he once said that. If you're watching, mate, can you just confirm that for me? Doubt you're watching. Yeah, he's just a sort of simple repaint and just a lamp. Yeah. I like his face. Not all the faces I made are that good, but to be honest, I like Duck, and I also like Thomas's face. Yeah, and I do like Oliver's. Speaking of Oliver, here he is. Now you might notice he's got GWR on his side, but not in the shirt button thing. And that's because I kind of prefer this to the shirt button thing, to be honest. Yeah, I've done 1436 there. It doesn't look too good, but what I'm going to do is just get the I believe Fox transfers, little number plate things, and just slap that on here. He's an Airfix 14XX, and recently I've been thinking that maybe Hornby, because they made a 14XX, I'm thinking that they might have used that actually, going off what I've seen. I think they also use that for Oliver, so that'll be their model of Oliver, so yeah, the Hornby Oliver. That would be cool, I guess. Yeah. All I really did again was just paint over the little number plate add the yellow lining, 1436, and slap a face on. I think his face is decent. Or I also painted the buffer beams and added these couplings. Oh, no, it hasn't broken. But yeah, I'm actually the other day I was taking him to the garage when this bit of the front buffer beam just smashed off, so I had to glue that back on. But yeah, he actually doesn't run. All I believe all my engines do, but yeah, he doesn't run. But that's because I think I'm missing a little pickup sort of spring thing. So yeah, I'll just get one of those, and also a few extra parts that he needs, and then he'll be done. I'm not thinking of replacing him with another model like Duck, which is really just temporary, but still my AU Duck. But yeah, I rather like Oliver. He's one of my more recent ones. I think he's my second newest locomotive. But yeah, oh, pardon me. I'm happy with how he turned out. So yeah, that's it for the Little Western engines. Next, let's continue with the branch line thing. Let's go for what I planned for the Norrenby branch. Yay. Now, the thing is about the Norrenby branch, I haven't heard a lot about it, or know a lot about it. I don't think anyone does. So I decided, maybe it goes past the sea. I think it does anyway. So, it might go on road. So it might need a tram engine. Which is what this engine is. Character I made up, although it is based off of, I think that one character from the magazine. So yeah, what it's called based on that, it's a bit different, I guess. Well, it's got the same sort of livery, I believe, but different build. And I've called it Clover, because I think in the magazine story that engine was like supposed to be unlucky. So why not get an unlucky engine and give it a name that's usually associated with luck, as in, like, you know, 4-leaf clover. So yeah, I need to sort of work on the lore though. I haven't got a lot. All I know about her that I've made up, of course, is that she works on the Norrenby branch. Yeah. It's just a Hornby 040. I actually used her original chassis for Mavis. So this is chassis from an engine that currently just using for parts. You can actually see it's a part there. This actually used to be an AU engine, which was the original 13 in my AU, called Timothy Hackworth. I think I actually, on WhatsApp, for some reason, wrote a list, sent it to myself, of all the AU engines I have. So, like, I have planned. So yeah, I'll find that and I'll, you know, have a look at it. But yeah, that's Clover. Yeah, just the engine that works, one of the engines that works the Norrenby branch, not all of them. I have many more planned. Yeah, rather like this one. Now these two are coaches I've made for Clover, and they're supposed to be sort of the coaches of the Norrenby branch. So yeah, they're just Bachmann coaches, just repainted. I think they look well enough with Clover. Yeah, that's really it. That's all I got to talk about. So yeah, I'll actually got a bit of paint chipping I need to work on. But yeah, this is the coaches up close. We've got rid of the back coupling on this one. But, don't know why actually. I just did, I guess. But yeah, composite coach. This is actually, I've had this one longer than I did this one, and this one's got a damage buffer. So yeah, well, I've replaced it, of course, with just a bit of card or something, but yeah, I think it's decent enough. It does the job. And of course, Clover, who runs. That's it. That's all I've got for the Norrenby branch. So let's see. Well, I haven't got a lot left actually already. I've only got the bigger engines and the Scarloey to talk about, and then gonna have a look at the list. So I think we'll go with the Scarloey engines, and then we'll move on to the big boys. Yeah, we'll do that. Alright, so the Scarloey engines, and we have another made-up character. These are literally the models I have. These two I bought at the Tullaclin Railway when I visited there in March of 2024, last year. And yeah, they're just 40s kits. I've actually lost Renius's chassis. They used to be representative of Dolgok and Edward Thomas, but now they're Renius and Peter Sam. And then, of course, got this additional character. I still, of course, need to find, you know, models for other characters, and I need a Bachmann chassis for both Peter Sam and Renius. But yeah, we'll just have a quick look at these. So yeah, Renius, SR for Skarloey Railway, but it could also mean Southern Railway. That'd be funny. Skarloey is owned by the Southern Railway now. Not really. So we've got Renius written across the sides, so I haven't got good focus. Yeah. They look very similar to how they look in the Railway series though, so yeah. I don't think they look exact, but yeah, they still look similar. It's extremely similar. Actually, one thing I forgot to mention is all my engines, I have this sort of rule on most of the engines, the cab roof is painted the same colour as the main body. Like on the main engines like Thomas, Bertie, Gordon, Henry, but with a few exceptions like Duck and Oliver, and of course Skarloey engines and a few others I plan for to exist in the future. So yeah, got a good enough face. Yeah, that's Renius. Now Peter Sam. He actually has buffers off an old wagon I had lying around. So yeah, got some of it from a wagon kit. Now this bit got damaged at some point, so I replaced that ages ago. It looks decent enough, I'd say. Yeah, that's Peter Sam. He was the first one I made actually out of the narrow gauge engines. He's got a face his face was surprisingly hard to make. Trying to get him in focus. There. Just display chassis. That's that I can barely make out for there. Peter Sam for SR4. And of course he's got his, I think it's Giesel ejector. Yeah, pretty sure that's what it's called. Yeah, he's very nice. John, spelled without an H because yes, number 15 on the Skarloey. I've made him up pretty much entirely. He's just he's a 3D printed engine I found on eBay. 009. I think it was like £39. Got him ages ago. Made him a little face. Put on the number 15 and John. The John nameplates are actually because this was before it was John. It was just a normal engine, and it has, so underneath those nameplates I believe it has D6. Because yeah. So yeah, that's oh, I think I've dropped his back coupling, which is just great. So yeah, that's John. I had a wagon that went with him, but don't know where that's gone. Whoops. But yeah. I rather like him. That's all the Skarloey engines. So yeah. Now we'll just move on to the big engines. Oh, then after that we got to talk about 2 trucks I made. Nearly forgot about those. But yeah, so now we'll just move on to the. We've got to move on to the big boy engines. So yeah, do that. All right. The big engines. And here's another one I've made up. So I believe this is actually the order I made them in, because I made Gordon and Henry around the same time, but I think I finished Henry first. So yeah, we'll just look at him first. He's just a repainted Tornado actually. Although his original smoke deflectors came off, so I've replaced them. Although to be honest, I think I'm going to cut them down a bit, because as you can see, Henry's just looking at his thing, so I'll cut them maybe down a bit so like he can at least just see over. So yeah, he's been painted in few liveries. I really like a lot of the others here. Well, really mainly just Thomas and Percy, actually. But yeah, he looks good. I guess he looks good enough. Anyway, very good. Although I think the only thing he needs is really just cut that down. He's got red lining. I'd say he's sort of the closest to the sort of real Henry, like the Henry in the Railway series and television series. Although you might notice he's not a Black 5. Now my models depict how I imagine my AU sort of engines in the modern day, as of course right now, 2025, then 2026, stuff like that. So why is Henry like this? I'll explain that later, maybe in another video. And then this is tender NWR3. I took inspiration from a old picture of, I believe, Flying Scotsman. Yeah. He's got like lettering here and then a number under there. I've also done the same on Gordon. And you also might notice, although he's green, sort of like Percy, and he's got red lining like Percy, he's very similar to Percy. Their text is different. Now that's because I sort of wanted there to be slight variations in sort of like in NWR green. I sort of wanted it to be a bit different on each engine, like Henry has. Henry has yellow text, and then Percy has black. But yeah, that's sort of why. Yeah, that's Henry and his tender. And then next, Gorgonzola. Now, what I just said about Henry, about the differences being, between liveries. Gordon and Thomas don't really have that. They seem... Actually, no, Thomas has yellow lining around his calves, I guess, so... Yeah, I guess there's that. But Thomas and Gordon are very similar. Yeah, Gordon was originally same color as Thomas when he was first made. Then he went into the same blue as Thomas. He's always sort of been the same sort of livery. He's always, of course, reflected Thomas. I actually rather like his face. Henry's, I'd probably say, is probably the worst out of all of them. I still like it. Out of all the faces, I think Henry's probably the worst. Oh well, not the best looking anyway. I like Gordon's. He looks nice. Yeah, that's the Gordon boy himself. And there's his tender, again, NWR. Got another low battery thing, 10%. I'm gonna have to rush this. Yeah, so he's NWR 4. Yeah, very nice. I actually made a little hole in there, and I actually put some detailing, like a little hallway sort of thing inside, which is cool. Anyways, this one's gonna need a bit of explaining. So I like that there's a game right on Roblox. Roblox I don't really like that much. I like the platform, just not the company itself, because it's a bit, what they've been doing recently. But there's a game on Roblox that I like, and a character I like it. By liking it, basically called Sebastian. And I thought, well, why not get a character from a video game I like and put him in my AU? Please don't sue me, creator of pressure. But yeah, so this is supposed to be him. I actually made a game accurate looking face. Well, not completely game accurate. Sort of looks like it. But this is the more one that's supposed to look like, match the other engines in my AU. He's owned by the Vickerstown Railway Museum. It needs a bit more lore to him. But yeah. Sorry if you couldn't make out anything I said there. If you couldn't, I'll probably explain in another video where I have more time and my phone isn't about to die. I'll have to censor out the word die. I don't know, YouTube is a bit on moderation. I could probably say that I can't, no, I don't. I'll talk about that maybe another day. Maybe never. But yeah, I rather like Sebastian, the model, and of course the character. I like them both. But yeah, I like this model. Very nice, I guess. Now on to the trucks. Yay! Alright, so I've just got these 2 tracks. I've got to speed this here because my phone's getting about to die soon. This I've just made this, actually just finished it. So I guess I'll talk about this one first because I made it first. I'm currently using it to store parts. I'm recording a video. Sorry. Yeah, got a little face on. Speeding here. I really got very nice, I guess. And then of course, Svan. I'm thinking about the list. I'm just gonna read it off and just not explain myself. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'll explain it in another video. So yeah, that's the wagons. Now the list, and I'm just gonna go straight onto the list. Oh, it's on the floor. It's on the floor. Right, the sandwich series, which is what I decided to call my AU. Engines of Sodor. This is not all the characters, of course. It's just engines and stuff. Okay, so let's go from the top. Northwestern Railway. Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James, Percy, Toby, Duck, or Montague, Donald, Douglas, Oliver, Emily, Clover, Rebecca, Nia, 16, Hero, Bloomer, Jimmy, Lady, Daisy, Boko, Bear, Diesel, Salty, Pib, Emma, Dodge, Splatter, Diesel 10, and then Peel, Godred, Tidmouth, Farquhar, and Appford. Actually, so by the way, these Diesels, electrics, when it says D or E, that means electrics. Anyways, that's Tidmouth Station. As you can see, that's definitely not going to fit in this miniature route, in this tiny room. Well, it probably would, but probably take up my bed. Scarlowy Railway. Scarlowy, Renius, Handel, Peter, Sam, Rusty, Duncan, Ivor, Hugh, Duke, Fred, Luke, Millie, John, Joshua, Matthew, Mark, and John. That's Scarlowy Station. That's in the garage. That's going to be the Arsdale Railway. I forgot how to spell it. Yeah. Privately owned. Bill, Ben, Mavis, Winston, Stanley, Spencer. That's going to be a map of Vickerstown there. Vickerstown Bridge. Vickerstown Railway Museum, 98462, 87546, Murdoch, Rosie, Billy, Clean, Molly, Ginty, Pug, Paxton, Sebastian with Markland. And as you can see, these slashes there, they represent, they basically tell you whether or not I'm making or I've made a model of them. That's going to be the Vickerstown Railway Museum. Boom! Covered in 2 minutes and, like 10 seconds. So, yay! Bye.